The first time they called me disposable, it was said with a laugh, like a joke everyone was supposed to understand. We were gathered around my aunt's long dining table, the one polished so often it reflected our faces back at us. I remember the sound of ice clinking in crystal glasses, the low hum of conversation, the way my mother avoided my eyes. My cousin leaned back in his chair, smirking, and said, "She's fine. If she disappears, we'll just replace her. She's disposable." Everyone laughed. Everyone except me. I smiled anyway. That's what I'd been trained to do. Smile, nod, shrink. I had always been the extra chair pulled in at the end of the table, the one who didn't quite fit the family narrative. I wasn't the loud achiever, the golden child, or the dramatic rebel. I was the quiet one, the useful one, the one they assumed would never matter. What they didn't know was that my grandmother had raised me differently when no one was watching. Growing up, I spent more time at her house than anywhere else. While my parents chased appearances and my relatives competed for attention, she taught me how to listen, how to observe. She poured tea and talked about things no one else mentioned: money, power, silence. She once told me, "The people who talk the loudest are rarely the ones in control." I didn't understand it then, but I never forgot it when she passed. The family descended like birds on breadcrumbs. Lawyers were called. Voices sharpened. I was barely acknowledged. I was told not to worry my pretty little head about legal matters. Someone even suggested I should be grateful if I got anything at all. I sat in the corner, hands folded, eyes down. I let them believe what they wanted. The trust was announced months later, quietly, through a sealed letter in a private meeting. It wasn't something read aloud at a funeral. It wasn't dramatic. It was intentional. My grandmother had created a holding trust decades earlier, layered and protected, its assets growing in silence. And she had named me the sole controller once I turned 30 for $100 million. Not ownership in the way they understood it, but authority, decision-making power, final say. I could move assets, freeze distributions, redirect funding. The money was tied to family businesses, properties, investments they all relied on. They benefited from it daily, without realizing who sat at the center of it. I didn't tell them. I didn't need to. For years, the mocking continued. At birthdays, holidays, weddings. "You're lucky we keep you around," my brother once said, grinning. "You wouldn't survive without us." I watched how they spoke to waiters, assistants, anyone they thought was beneath them. I listened when they complained about cash flow, about deal stalling, about banks suddenly becoming difficult. When my 30th birthday passed, nothing changed on the surface. I still showed up with modest gifts. I still wore neutral colors and kept my voice soft. But behind the scenes, I began to act. I didn't cut them off. That would have been too obvious, too emotional. Instead, I tightened things. Margins shrank. Approvals took longer. Renovation budgets were reassessed. Investments were redirected towards stability instead of expansion. It all looked reasonable, responsible, even. The kind of decisions a cautious trustee would make. They started to feel it within 6 months. Dinners became tense. Conversations dropped to whispers. My uncle drank more. My cousin snapped at his wife over trivial things. Someone joked that the family luck had run out. Another suggested an outsider was sabotaging them. No one looked at me. Why would they? I was disposable. The turning point came at a charity gala my mother insisted I attend. She cornered me near the restrooms, her smile brittle. "Do you have any idea what's happening?" she hissed. "Your uncle's company is struggling. We might have to sell the lake house." I tilted my head, concerned. "That sounds stressful," I said gently. She sighed, rubbing her temples. "You wouldn't understand." She was right. She didn't understand me. The truth came out not because I revealed it, but because they needed something. A vote, an exception, an emergency approval. The lawyer called a meeting. This time, I wasn't invited as an afterthought. This time, they waited for me to arrive. When the documents were laid out and my role was explained, the room went silent. Faces drained of color. My cousin laughed once, sharply, as if someone had told a bad joke. My brother stared at the table. My mother looked at me like she was seeing a stranger. "You?" someone whispered. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't gloat. I simply confirmed what was already written. That I had the authority. That I always had. That every delayed check, every frozen account, every denied expansion had passed through my hands. They tried apologies first. Awkward ones. Then anger, accusations. They called me ungrateful, manipulative, cruel. Disposable, no longer said with laughter, but with fear. I listened. I let them finish. Then I told them the truth. That I hadn't done this out of spite. That I had done exactly what my grandmother taught me to do: protect what mattered from people who didn't respect it. I reminded them of every joke, every dismissal, every moment they treated me like I was replaceable. I told them they were still benefiting from the trust, just not controlling it. In the months that followed, the family changed. Some stopped calling. Some suddenly remembered my birthday. A few tried to rebuild something real. I allowed what felt honest. I denied what felt performative. I didn't disappear. I didn't need revenge that burned everything down. I chose something quieter: stability, distance, control. They still talk about me, I'm sure. About how they never saw it coming. About how the quiet one turned out not to be disposable at all. And sometimes, when I sit alone with a cup of tea, I hear my grandmother's voice again, calm and steady, reminding me that silence isn't weakness. It's patience. If you want to hear more stories like this, stay close. There's always another truth waiting.